Hello, X Factory friends and family. This is Paul Sinclair with another Paul's voiceover video. I've been seeing a lot of clamoring for some more X6 Cubed racing action, some more racing video of our new prototype two-wheel drive buggy, and I am here to deliver. We're going back to early April, the race that Chaz and I went to down in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, the Winter Championship race hosted by Thunder RC, and show you Dan Reno and myself driving our cubes in qualifying. And also I wanted to kind of show through two different race videos a change that I made to my car and how it improved it. Without further ado, we'll let Chaz set the scene here.
This is round 3, the A qualifier, and we have 3 cars in it. Dan Reno TQ by 1 second over Paul after 2 rounds, and then we have a third, an X6 squared. That's also
so Dan Reno's driving the white car here that we're watching down the straightaway. He just painted up a quick RB6 body when I sent him the parts, and I wanted to get it running as soon as he could. So just simple rattle can all white paint job. He's one of the fast guys in Middle Tennessee for sure. Been racing a long time. Runs some on-road, runs some nitro, runs 10th electric, pretty much everything. Sponsored by X Factory as well as X-Ray. Yeah, he helps. He does a lot of work at Thunder, helping build the tracks, water them, that kind of thing, and his stuff is always on point, especially with the tires. And I think it's pretty easy to see that his cube is getting around really well. Again, you know, Chaz and I keep stressing this, and I know you guys have heard it a lot, but the car just looks nimble to me as I watch it. He's got some great rotation in it. It seems to just rotate when he wants, and as soon as he gets back on power, down the straightaway it goes. He and I battled it out all weekend. He took, I think as Chaz said, he took the round 2 TQ and held it through round 3, but makes a small mistake there in round 3 and lets me by. So now Chaz puts the camera on my car, my X6 Cube, and I want to point out through this middle section here, you're going to see the car kind of over, the rear end roll over too much, right there and right here. And that's the problem that I identified, and kind of I started to notice it in the second round, and in the third round I really, I don't want to say it was bothering me, but it became, I noticed that was my biggest inconsistency with the car as I drive around the track. I think you'll see it again this lap, right there. And it's not like I'm making a mistake, it's not like I'm, you know, screwing up because of it, but definitely in my mind as a race driver, I'm losing time because the rear end of the car is rolling too far over in those corners. It's hard to see from this video with the dirt being all kind of uniform, but those 2 corners are very kind of off-camber. They're depressed. You kind of go downhill as you enter the corner. And so for the rest of the track, my car was pretty good, but in those 2 particular corners, I could notice that rear end just roll too far and take too long to come back to square. And when I hit a perfect line, it wasn't as noticeable. I think this lap, pretty good. When I hit the line perfectly, it wasn't very noticeable, but it would definitely catch me out if I made the smallest of mistakes, and I'd have to wait for the car to square back up and, you know, to kind of take shape again before I could accelerate out. Anyway, for round 4, which will start here, again, Dan Reno kept TQ, so Chaz is watching Dan's car first. For round 4, I went from the Associated Big Bore green springs, which are a 2.0 rate, to the Associated white springs, 2.1 rate. And just that little increase in spring rate is going to keep the car, the rear end, from rolling quite as far in those 2 corners, and result in a more consistent race. Anyway, I don't know what, if anything, Dan changed from round 3 to round 4 here. I think he just put his car down and drove it. What do you say? He was still TQ, but makes an early bobble, and again, I get by, and Chaz is going to focus on me. And here coming through, see there, the car leaned over about as far, not quite, but then sprang back much quicker than in the earlier video. I should say the earlier round 3 run. Again, that's that stiffer spring, just helping keep the rear end from rolling quite as far, and then squaring it back up quicker through that middle section. The car also, I mean, it's going to jump a little bit further and land a little better with that harder spring rate. It's just going to support the rear end better. I do think you lose some corner speed in just kind of flat like that corner there or getting on the straightaway. I think the green springs will carry a tick more corner speed, And in fact, in rounds 1, 2, and 3, I had the fast lap of the round with a 16.9 in those runs. And in this round, even though I reset TQ, I end up resetting TQ and taking the pole for the main by, I think, 6 or 7 seconds. My fast lap was only a 17 flat. So, I mean, it's possible that was just the track. You know, I mean, the water level is going to change, and that affects the traction level and those kind of things. But I would say the car actually was perhaps a tick slower, but the consistency more than made up for it. And I was able to just lay it down. I thought my car was really good. Just rotates nicely, just like Dan's car. Rotates nicely. When I get up back on power, straighten things out, it just accelerates well. I always love racing at Thunder. This is the track that I ran on when I was going to grad school in Nashville. And so it's a bit like, going home. I can show up and kind of look at the track, pick the tire, and my stuff is pretty dialed most of the time. And it's always a good time. I love the people there, hanging out with old friends, people I haven't seen in a while. So Chaz and I try to make the trip down, once or twice a year, and say hi to all our friends and family down there. Yeah. And so that was the setup change I made. Otherwise, I mean, this round 4 run was nearly flawless. As I say that, of course, I hit the tube. But ended up resetting TQ. I think Dan and I were both on 21.614s, and I ended up with this run, I think, on like a 21.608, 21.607, something around that. Yeah, just watch it. I mean, the car just looks beautiful to me. Easy to drive, consistent, good corner speed, good rotation. Doesn't roll in the corners like the Squared does. It's just not carrying that weight quite out. It's narrower and lighter. So yeah, just watching myself drive. This layout was pretty technical. The track's obviously pretty small. It's about 100 by 35, I think, total. So the straightaway is maybe 85 foot long, apex to apex. But they squeezed a lot of stuff into this layout. It flowed pretty well, though, which is I always like in a track. Off the straightaway, the sweeper, you could either go kind of high or low. I preferred the low line. I didn't like to get up in that bank. I like to keep my car flat and in control. Reno definitely liked the high line in most of the videos that I've seen of him. I thought the most critical part of the track was actually that center section that I made the spring change for. Because of the kind of the depressions that I mentioned earlier, if you stayed really tight and hit your lines and didn't let your car roll down into the pit or go down into the pit, you could shave a lot of tenths off your lap time. And that's what each lap I was focusing on, was trying to hit my lines through this section right here. That was a good corner. That triple in the front was pretty easy for me to make. Some people seem to struggle with it. It was just because it was hard to see. It's right, it's right almost. It feels like it's at your feet because the driver's stand is almost over the track. So it was perhaps a touch hard to see sometimes, but I didn't struggle with that much. This kind of roller step up was a bit tricky, and if you see my car pull quite a few wheelies, just little wheelies here and there, it's because early in the race weekend I had tightened my slipper clutch to make sure that I had enough power to clear that step up. And so I made sure that I had the power to clear that, because that was certainly, making sure you cleared that was worth quite a lot each lap. And I just dealt with a good trigger finger, tried to keep the front end on the ground as much as I could. And who doesn't love having power? This track actually has quite a bit of traction in it. And combined with Viper 7.5, really laid it down. It was a lot of fun. In the main, Jackie Woodard actually, he led quite a bit, and I was chasing him down, and he commented to me after the race. He's like, I knew your car was fast. I could hear it on the straightaway. And so maybe there's a little intimidation factor there. But it's a lot of fun. I think my car is really good. This video, I think, makes it look pretty good. So, yeah, great time racing at Thunder RC. We're about to finish it out here. And, yeah, the cube should be out maybe 4 weeks or so, hopefully less. We'll see. Keep your eyes on X Factory's RC Facebook page on this website. And I will catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.